Auburn is finally picking up a little bit of momentum. Yes, welcome back on in to the Auburn Angle. I'm, of course, your host, Graham McLean. And thank you so much for tuning in and listening today. Auburn's finally picking up a little bit of momentum in the transfer portal. As I'm recording this today, it is Sunday, January 4th, and Auburn had a couple of commits today. Now, wasn't the big names that a lot of us were expecting or are predicting, but we did have a couple. So I'm gonna go through the list of some of the guys we got today. We also got some more announcements of some returners that are coming back to Auburn, and I think there's some that are really important here. And yeah. So to start off, like I said, Auburn had a little bit of portal momentum today. We had a couple of commits. Like I said, none of the big names. Byron Brown is not committed yet. A couple of the receivers are not committed yet, but we did get two receivers from USF transferring today. And the first one we'll go over is Corey Pettigrew. This was a freshman last year who didn't get a ton of playing time. He had 3 receptions for 28 yards on the season. So he's young and, he has some room to grow, but it's always good to have room, depth to the room, especially in this room that got poached. Essentially, I mean, we lost so many guys in this wide receiver room. And so, yeah, it's always good to have depth there. And then obviously a guy who can learn under this new staff and, really mostly his staff from, USF, but, it'll be good to see him, to see him grow, and hopefully he can reach that, SEC level. The next one is a little bit of a bigger name, not one of like the huge guys that some people are talking about, but it is Christian Neptune. Last year he had 38 receptions for 335 yards and 1 touchdown. So this is one of those depth pieces, that will more than likely, I'm not entirely sure, but could see the rotation and get on the field a little bit. So that's super awesome and super important to have on this team. Like I said, there's still I wanted to mention that Keyshawn Singleton, the other, the star wide receiver out of USF, did officially enter the portal today, or my bad, yesterday as this comes out. And so he was finally allowed to talk to this Auburn staff, and it sounds like, he's going to end up at Auburn. And so that's awesome, and we want that for sure. Same with Byron Brown. He officially entered the portal yesterday morning. I know Byron was in Auburn. Multiple pictures came out of Byron in the facility, and so I'm sure he took his official visit today. Yesterday he didn't commit, but like there's no worry at all amongst a lot of people that are in the know of the situation. There's no worry at all that Auburn's going to miss out on Byron Brown. It sounds like it's pretty much a done deal. Byron's going to be here. And maybe by the time this comes out in the morning, he could be committed. Because I've heard some stuff or I guess the morning that this comes out, it should be around that time that it's announced he's committing. So that would be super awesome. Would hopefully bring in a lot of momentum for Auburn, because of course I feel like Byron Brown's one of those guys that if you're in the portal, then that's a guy that you want to play with. I mean, heck, if you want to play with a quarterback that has, an honor, or like, one of the players, only one of 12, I think he was the 12th to ever, pass for 3,000 and run for 1,000. So that's obviously a guy you want to play with, and clearly, Byron was very skillful, and so I'm sure people are going to want to play with him. So some more positions that we need to fill. Obviously, I feel good about us filling up the wide receiver room, so I'm not worried about that there. Some questions that we might have about some like positions at this point are tight end. I'm not entirely sure which route Auburn's going to go. I know they've had a couple tight ends coming in to visit, and so we'll see in the next couple of days. Obviously, I think with the Byron Brown announcement, hopefully that a tight end is like, oh, I want to go play at Auburn because Byron Brown's going to be there, and that's who I want my quarterback to be. And right now, the tight end room is wide open. You had Preston Howard enter the portal, Hollis Davidson enter the portal. Ryan G announced he is returning to Auburn, and we'll see what happens there. I don't know if he's 100% ready yet to take on that starter SEC role at tight end. And so if you're a tight end and you're looking for a place to go, I feel like Auburn's got to be super super enticing to you because, like I said, this room is wide open. There's not going to be that much of a competition. Your quarterback is most likely going to be Byron Brown. And so it feels like a win-win situation for you. And tight ends are, they flourish in Alex Golsh's offenses. So it just seems like the perfect place for a good tight end to want to come. So we'll see what happens there. There are a couple of names floating around. I don't have any written down or on the top of my head right now, but yeah, so we'll see what happens there. There's been a little bit of a rumbling that Deuce Knight could be returning to Auburn. So we'll see about that. I'm not, like I said, I don't know for sure. I've just been some smoke today, but yeah, we'll talk about that in just a minute right after this. I just want to give a quick shout out to myself, to my Instagram page and TikTok page called Made by McLean. It's just another Auburn information edits page where I post, edit videos and stuff like that. Just about Auburn sports, and it's super fun. So y'all make sure to go check out that and give it a follow. And yeah. So like I said, Deuce Knight obviously has not officially entered his name as of me recording this. So there's been some smoke about him potentially returning, and I think that could be like one of those situations where like he put his name out there, or I guess he hasn't if his name's not officially in the portal, but I'm sure these guys talk, and if Deuce has an agent, his agent I'm sure is talking to other programs, just kind of getting the vibes about what they think of Deuce. And I know Deuce wants to start, and I don't blame him for that. I think the kid has generational talent, and so he wants to start. I'm not going to blame him for that, but it just seems like no school is going to want to take a risk on Deuce starting. No like big school. He could go to a group of 5 and start immediately and be the star, but no big school where Deuce is wanting to end up is going to take a risk on such little tape of Deuce. Now, do I think Deuce can succeed? Absolutely. I think he's incredible. And I think if, say, we didn't have Byron Brown and we didn't have Golish and, Deuce was our guy going into next year, I'd be comfortable with that, And so, but it just sounds like he's not getting the love and the what he thought he was going to be getting out of the portal. And so we'll see what happens there. But like, if you ask me, like, it's hard to beat the offer that Auburn kind of gave you. You sit for one more year, barring injury. If Byram goes down, like, you're the guy. You're next in line. It's next man up. So, but it sounds like Auburn threw in a pretty competitive NIL deal for Deuce just to sit this year. Like, they were wanting to pay him starter money this year to sit. So I think that's super interesting about, why you wouldn't want to stay. But you could always see that, like, they went out there and said, oh, well, maybe the grass isn't greener outside of Auburn. And that could be true for multiple guys. I'm not entirely sure. There's a couple names I think that haven't entered the portal yet. Someone said Amaris Williams hadn't entered his name into the portal yet, but I saw that he was taking a visit to Georgia, and then he posted something on his story yesterday as this goes up, and it was the UGA mascot for Georgia on his story. I think it was just a picture of that. So that's probably pretty telling if you ask me, but we'll see what happens there. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, that's that. Auburn also adds in Hudson Powell. That is a long snapper from Miami, Ohio. So, like I said, we had a couple of commitments today, but they were not anything massive or big. Our biggest one today was clearly Christian Neptune. What a sick last name. Neptune? That's pretty cool. Y'all tell me what your favorite planet is in the comments down below. Mine is Mine's Jupiter, I think. You can't say Earth. Let me say that because obviously, like everyone's would be Earth. We live here, but I think Jupiter and Mars, I think are my favorite. One of my favorites. Um, so yeah. Uh, so yeah, we've had a couple of names announced in the last couple days to 24 to 48 hours that Auburn was retaining some more players. And so there were three names, and I can't remember if I said this on yesterday's podcast, but I'm going to say it again today. A very big name that we got confirmed that was returning is, of course, none other than our edge Jared Smith. That is so massive. He didn't get a ton of playing time this year, but when he did, he looked electric. And there's multiple times where he is, chasing the quarterback for a sack or gets into the backfield and gets a sack. I mean, he looked impressive this year, and he is huge. He's a big, big kid. So having him stay is awesome, and getting to see him develop, like the jump. A lot of times people say the jump from your freshman year to your sophomore year is just like astronomical, and so it's something super exciting to see a lot of these guys make that jump, because a lot of these guys that we're retaining were freshmen last year, and they're coming into their sophomore year. So it's clear to see that Golish is prioritizing the young core that we had on defense last year. We haven't seen many. I'll get into one in a minute, but we haven't seen much offensive returning. But we've seen what, two, I think. So or three. My bad. We have three that I know of returning, like confirmed. And so, yeah. So a lot of young defensive core is being focused on here. So that's super exciting. I mean, you have Elijah Melendez, freshman to sophomore jump. That should be incredible. You have Jared Smith. You have Eric Winters. You have Anquan Fagans. All those guys are making that freshman to sophomore jump. So Auburn could have a super elite defense, and I think our linebacker core is going to be one of, if not the best in the country. With Elijah Melendez, DeMarcus Riddick is coming back. Xavier Worthy. So Bryce Diaz, that's another one making the freshman to sophomore jump. So super, super exciting for this defense. And obviously they all love Coach Durkin, and so that is going to be awesome to see. I want to put the spotlight on one player in particular though, who blew me away today. And that is none other than Bryce Cain, the final member of the Freeze 4 that is on this roster. And I've heard that this staff loves Bryce Cain. They love his potential, and I think they think that they can use him really well in this offense. And so Bryce Cain gets announced, with the official posts that Auburn's been posting on their social media. He gets announced that he's returning, and he posted on his all his social media. But what really blew me, and also, I mean, if you would have told me 3 years ago that Bryce Cain was the last Freeze 4 member on this roster, I would have laughed at you. Yeah, well, I will, take it, but I would have thought he was the first one gone. Just because it seemed like the rest of the Freeze 4 guys had been getting some playing time, and Bryce really just hasn't. He's just been sitting in the shadows. But I'm so stoked for Bryce that he's getting this opportunity now with this new staff. But what really blew me away with Bryce today or yesterday was he tweeted out a little bit after his announcement, or right around his announcement. And this is what it says. I'm going to read it to you real quick. Bryce Cain tweeted saying, "I'm excited to get coached up by the new coaching staff and cannot wait to get back to work. This is what got me. I love the fans and culture of Auburn, and the thought of leaving never crossed my mind. War Eagle." That is unbelievable. And in such a great way, because I feel like nowadays we don't see this. We don't see, this type of loyalty and love to like programs anymore. And to say the thought of never leaving crossed my mind when it's been so easy for Bryce to leave this whole time. I mean, every chance, every season, or I guess this was only season 2, but both years it just seemed like, oh, well, you know, it wouldn't be. I won't be shocked if Bryce left. So to see this from Bryce is actually just so amazing and so refreshing. So I'm super happy for that. And I'm super stoked for Bryce and the opportunity that he has this year. And he even said, I'm excited to get coached up by the new coaching staff. Like, he's ready. And he's like, I'm locked in with this coaching staff. I'm locked in with Golish. I'm locked in with Cody Burns, my new wide receivers coach. You know, I'm locked in with everybody. Like, let's go. I'm ready to get this thing going, and I'm ready to like take charge. And he's gonna be a junior this year, so he's gonna be an upperclassman on this team. So hopefully he can take a little bit of a leadership role there, and I think that'd be so awesome for Bryce. Yeah, so not much more left today. Last bit of announcement. Sam Turner had originally entered his name into the portal. There'd been it sounded like the staff kind of said, like, hey, it's probably best if you leave. And then they changed their mind. But at that point, it was already too late. Like, the bridge was burned, and Sam's like, I'm gone if you don't want me. And so, but I think this coaching staff continued to push it and really recruit him still. And so, sounds like he's changed his mind, and Sam Turner will return to the Tigers for the 2026 season. And that is awesome because, just like I said, it adds the depth to this room. And he's someone that was super under recruited out of high school, and I think has potential to do awesome things. He's got an incredible size, and length, and can jump high. So that's super exciting. That Sam Turner is going to be returning. I think that about does it for today. Hopefully by the time this goes up, or around the time this goes up, maybe mid morning, on the 5th, Byron Brown is an Auburn Tiger. That would be fantastic, and maybe even a couple more, like Keyshawn Singleton, stuff like that. We want to get those guys out of the way, and then we'll focus in on some of the offensive and defensive linemen that Auburn is going to push for. So super duper exciting there. Yeah, I think that about does it for today. Just a quick reminder, and I think I mentioned it. I am now doing 2 shows. I'm going to stay here on Auburn Angle. I'm still going to be doing this, so don't worry about that. Don't have to go anywhere. But I'm also going to be doing another show with the team over at the Barn, Auburn. What an incredible staff they have over there. Incredible team. They're doing some incredible work over there. So I'm joining a show over there. It's going to be called the Social Hour. The Barn Social Hour. And so first episode airs today as this goes out. So I think around 7 p.m. So y'all make sure to go look out for that. I'm co-hosting that with Hunter Bussey. Fantastic guy. Like I said, fantastic team over the Barn. Y'all go give them some love. Go check out their page. And you become a member. If you become a member, you get access to the message board. You get access to exclusive videos. It's all awesome. And so make sure to go over there and check all that stuff out, because they're just awesome, and it's such a great team, and I love being a part of it. We also do the Barncast, which is, during basketball games, football games, that type of stuff. We go live and we just talk about the game. We watch the game, and then we talk about it while the game's going on, and we just have fun. I think a little tweet got posted from the most recent one we played, Georgia, and it's hilarious. So you got to check that out. So yeah, I think that's about all I have for today. Auburn's finally picking up a little bit of steam in the portal, but so is everybody else. It's portal slowly starting to pick up its pace. So that's super exciting. Yeah. Oh, last thing. Kill Ellis returns and Jacoby Ward returns. That's 2 offensive linemen, but that's huge that Kill Ellis is returning, because that just sets up that. I mean, it's assumed he'll be our starting center next year. He played great when he was backing up for Connor Lew. So that just is glad that we can get that position under wraps. So, yep, I think that about does it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Please like the video. Please subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow.